Download now and never miss an episode of Fox News Channel.
The president pushing back hard on that book, Fire and Fury.
Branding the author a total loser, calling himself a genius.
I went to the best colleges. I was a very excellent student, came out, made billions and billions of dollars, ran for president one time and won. And then I hear this guy that does not know me. And I guess Sloppy Steve brought him into the White House quite a bit. That's why Sloppy Steve is now looking for a job.
The president's had to put up with the fake news for the last year. Now he has to deal with a fake book.
They are so deranged about Trump. They need him out. They can't do any of this without depleting his political bank account, and his political bank account is going up.
President Trump and Republicans talking immigration reform at their Camp David retreat.
A major expansion of border security.
We want the wall. The wall's going to happen or we're not going to have DACA.
GOP lawmakers issuing a criminal referral into the author of that anti-Trump dossier.
I think we're going to get some more information out this week from the committee on this. Right now, this is very significant.
Mariota to the line of scrimmage, maybe across the line. It deflects back to him for a touchdown.
Come on, what's the weather? It's 5 degrees, negative 13 wind chill. What's it like on the eastern seaboard?
You can take the maps, but
no, we don't need any maps.
Well,
I don't need no stinking maps.
Wind chill is negative 25 degrees in Boston right now. But the good
Now,
news is,
I'll tell you, we may have seen a record here, a push-up record. Lisa and I were counting. You guys were well into the 30s, maybe more. We started counting just a little bit after you started. But, you know, if you kind of look at the form there, Klotz really looking quite strong. Pete, I usually defend you on this show.
He's got more endurance. I mean, this is clear. I went too hard, too fast. I did push-ups yesterday. I've got a long list of
excuses. Is that an excuse?
Longer than Hillary Clinton's what
No,
happened.
I was gonna say that's literally what I was just about to say. You're starting to sound like Hillary Clinton. How sore are you right now?
I'm already sore. To ask me tomorrow. I mean, Adam Potts, dude's good shape.
You look exhausted just watching yourself.
I'm trying to talk. I was trying to do the weather, so you want to do silent push-ups. I was like, we got to do the weather, man.
He just makes it look easy. And you know, our viewers also were emailing in. They enjoyed this, and they're giving us their thoughts. Here's Melissa. She says, I sure am worried about Pete's hands after being outside doing push-ups with bare hands on the wet pavement. He had real
It is 5
That
degrees
is
outside.
very kind. Well, Jerry says, well done, Pete. No jacket, but you're getting a little soft. Time to crank some gym time. Easy for me to say, hiding behind my phone on my couch in my 70-degree living room. Ooh, rubbing it a little bit.
You know
but that's
what?
pretty.
There's a new gym
so
here.
Time to hit the gym,
There's
Pete,
a new
I guess.
gym here at the Fox News Channel. I'm going to be in tomorrow for Brian on the couch. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go work out tomorrow after the show. And I'm going to eat a little bit less in the food segments.
I don't believe that
maybe
for a
that's
second.
one of my New Year's resolutions. Or maybe not. Yeah.
I think you should maybe work out with Klotz and get him to teach you, the secret to making it look so darn easy.
In a month, I'm getting a rematch. In a month.
Okay, all right. Mark the date.
So you're going to be like Rocky, running up and down steps, playing Eye the Tiger. And
Mark the date. And it will be fascinating to see on that day whether or not we are still talking about a book that has garnered a lot of attention, Fire and Fury. And the president yesterday, after the meeting at Camp David, where he was discussing the important agenda forward on immigration, on the spending bill and everything else, the president firing back against this book. Here's a montage of what he had to say.
I went to the best college. I was a very excellent student, came out, made billions and billions of dollars, went to television, ran for president one time and won. And then I hear this guy that doesn't know me at all, by the way, did not interview me for he said he interviewed me for 3 hours in the White House. I consider it a work of fiction. And I think it's a disgrace that somebody's able to have something, do something like that. Just so you understand, there's been no collusion. There's been no crime. I'm not under investigation. When you've done nothing wrong, let's be open. It's making our country look foolish. And this is a country that I don't want looking foolish.
It's making our country look foolish. And Griff, you'd acknowledge this as a journalist. It's making our media look foolish. The extent to which they're running with incredibly poorly sourced, as you said, gossip, and they're treating it as if it's something they can take this president down with, from this book to CNN to the New York Times.
Right. I mean, if you give some context, back during President Bush's administration, we had Woodward's book come out, which was the lead up to the invasion of Iraq, the Iraq War, and there was certainly quotes of real substance that sort of gave us an inside look based on Woodward's access. In this case, we have a very different situation. We have a skilled, seasoned gossip journalist that was let, for whatever reason, in the White House that has a lot of salacious things of little substance, for which has become a narrative portrayed by, unfortunately, in some cases, other journalists, that this is a portrayal of a president who didn't want to win to begin with and is an undisciplined person that eats cheeseburgers in bed.
And that narrative is ridiculous because we have two conflicting narratives that the mainstream media and the left are trying to run. They're trying to say President Trump is this, incompetent person who didn't want to win the election, while simultaneously he's colluding with Vladimir Putin and Russia to win the election. So those are sort of contradictory messages that we're seeing being pushed. But I think it's also viewers at home that are frustrated with this as well, because they want to hear about the issues. They want to hear about tax reform. They want to hear about immigration. They want to hear how all these different policy pieces are going to impact their lives. And you know who else is frustrated? Dan Bongino. And he joined us earlier talking about this very issue. Listen.
Not expect these things to pass. Now that they've passed and Trump's approval ratings are moving up and he has political capital, impeachment now is almost off the table entirely. They need a backup plan. Their backup plan is the 25th Amendment, which would remove the president of office because of physical or mental incapacity. It's farcical, it's laughable, but it speaks to the desperation of these Looney Tune Democrats that are so desperate to get Trump out of office.
Their backup plan, but it's also right now plan A. Resistance has been plan A. Impeachment has been plan A. Discredit has been plan A. It is their policy agenda, because right now they're looking at the other side of the aisle at Republicans, at President Trump, and they're seeing a year of accomplishments, signature of which was the passing of the tax bill. Now this president at Camp David over the weekend, meeting with his advisors, looking at the political agenda going forward. Democrats are clinging to DACA. They say we want the Dreamers legalized. That's what we need. And President Trump, sticking to his central campaign promise from the beginning, says, you want DACA? I'm going to get my wall. Take a listen.
We want the wall. The wall's going to happen, or we're not going to have DACA. We want to get rid of chain migration. We need some additional border security. These are great people. We all want DACA to happen, but we also want great security for our country. We have to get rid of the visa lottery. They're not sending us their finest. I think, frankly, the Democrats feel strongly about it, too. I mean, Chuck Schumer, he saw somebody that came in through the lottery system. He saw this man kill 8 people on the West Side Highway. I really think we'll have a lot of Democrat support. I hope so. I believe that Mexico will pay for the wall. We're negotiating NAFTA, but Mexico will pay. In some form, Mexico will pay for the wall.
So we have a very interesting situation now, Democrats finding themselves in, because the president has put forth a serious proposal, $18 billion for 10 years to build the remaining second part of this wall. At the same time, this book getting all this attention. What do you say?
Well, I'd say, ironically, you have a lot of those on the left and critics of the wall and critics of increased border security, or at least they're critics now, but they weren't back in the day. I mean, you can go back to even 2006 with the Secure Fence Act, where you have Obama, Biden, Clinton, Dianne Feinstein, Chuck Schumer, who all voted to put up a physical barrier on the southern border. Dianne Feinstein said at the time that Democrats are solidly behind controlling the border. Well, where are they now? And how did they so drastically change their opinion over the years?
And they seem to forget that there's this pesky thing out there called videotape. And so previous Democratic leaders, from Bill Clinton in the State of the Union in 1996, and then Senator Obama during that passage of the Secure Fence Act, they both said things on tape that we're now going to play for you that are a little bit different than the tune they're singing now. Listen. A little bit.
We are increasing border controls by 50%. We are increasing inspections to prevent the hiring of illegal immigrants. And tonight I announce I will sign an executive order to deny federal contracts to businesses that hire illegal immigrants. Let me be very clear about this. We are still a nation of immigrants. We should be proud of it. We should honor every legal immigrant here working hard to be a good citizen, working hard to become a new citizen. But we are also a nation of laws.
It will authorize some badly needed funding for better fences and better security along our borders. Yes, we need tougher border security and stronger enforcement measures. Yes, We need more resources for customs and border agents and more detention beds.
I thought we were supposed to build bridges, not walls.
Yeah, well, let me just tell you.
These two. Hey, President Trump's doing the right thing.
The tape don't lie. And when you go back to those comments we played of President Trump yesterday, Camp David saying, here's the serious deal, here's what I want. Shortly after that, Senator Sanders immediately said, I'm not sure why President Trump wants to shut the government down over a multi-billion-dollar wall that no one wants and is not needed. Well, we just played you for the last 2 decades. Both Democrats and Republicans have both wanted it. And not only have they wanted it and voted for it and supported it, they actually built it. That Fence Act you talk called for 700 miles along the southern border. And they have built 653 of them and added additional border security, which is
so let's get this right. It was a Democratic president in 1996 who used the word illegal immigrants, which they won't use anymore. It's undocumented. Called for the wall. In 2006, it was George W. Bush who passed the Secure Fence Act. 350 miles of fence that Obama, Hillary, Biden, and Schumer all voted for, and it passed. And it has portions of it have been built. And then in 2013, during the Gang of Eight, during comprehensive immigration reform, they authorized another 350 miles of fence, which all 54 Senate Democrats voted for, many of which are still in the Senate, who say they will not work with Republicans on a DACA deal. That is as political and disingenuous as you can think of, because the president is coming in good faith, as you said, with a real proposal. I'll give you DACA if you support border security.
And just quickly for the viewers at home, a couple of things to keep in mind and to look towards. So you have January 19th, which Congress is going to have to address, keeping the government open. Again, immigration is going to come up. We'll see if Democrats try to use that to push the issue of DACA. President Trump is also giving Congress until March to deal with DACA. So we're gonna be hearing about this a lot in the next couple of months as this gets addressed.
If Congress can't do it, I bet Trump supporters would open their own GoFundMe page and build their own wall.
Well, I'll tell you who won't be thinking about this book, Fire and Fury, are the 800,000 illegal immigrants brought here as children who are looking to continue the American dream they found since they came here.
It's a serious thing. It's a great point. All right, well, we're moving on to a very serious Fox News alert. One man is dead and another injured after an explosion overnight in Sweden. Police there say a 60-year-old man died after an object he picked up outside a metro station in Stockholm, it exploded. There are reports it may have been a hand grenade. A 45-year-old woman also injured in the blast. Police say there's no evidence to suggest yet that this incident is terror-related. And we now know where in New Hampshire the winning Powerball ticket was sold. One lucky person is about $560 million richer after their purchase at Reed's Ferry Market in Merrimack. If you went there in the last couple of days, check your pockets. The winning numbers in Saturday's drawing are 12, 29, 30, 33, 61 in the Powerball was 26. No one has claimed the prize as of yet. Wow. And the NFL playoffs kicking off with the Atlanta Falcons shutting down the LA Rams 26-13 on LA's home field. And on another home field defeat, Kansas City, the Chiefs, and the Tennessee Titans, they erased an 18-point deficit thanks to their quarterback Marcus Mariota's touchdown pass to himself, sparking a second-half surge. The Titans stunning the Chiefs in front of their home crowd, 22-21. Two more matchups today in the NFL. First, the Bills versus the Jaguars. Then the Panthers take on the New Orleans Saints. The winner of one of those two games will play my Minnesota Vikings next Sunday, which I'm really the only thing in the NFL I'm paying attention to.
All right, go Vikings. The Dow starting off strong this year, closing above 25,000. What can we expect this week? Maria Bartiromo here to discuss it next.
And his last-minute touchdown pass won the game for his team, but it also sent another team into the playoffs. Look at this. So those are Buffalo Bills players reacting to a touchdown pass thrown by Andy Dalton, who's not on the Bills. That's the Bengals quarterback, and he joins us live to tell us how they are paying him back for it. It's a very cool story.
4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah.
Welcome back. After a record 2017, the Dow starting the new year off strong again, closing above 25,000 last week. So what can we expect when the markets open again tomorrow?
Here to break it all down is Sunday Morning Futures host Maria Bartiromo.
Hey, Maria. Good morning, guys. Great to see you.
So what can we expect tomorrow? And also, is this here to stay, this stock market boom?
Well, you know, there's no reason to believe that we're going to have any kind of sell-off anytime soon. There is a real bid under this market. Now, whether or not it opens up or down tomorrow really doesn't matter. I mean, really what's important is there is a firmness to this market, and it is based on fundamentals. This is not like 1999 where we were talking about how many hits went to the website. We're talking about solid earnings and solid revenue. And there are reasons to believe that this momentum continues into 2018. I would not be surprised to see many, many more records hit this upcoming year, because in the next couple of weeks, we're going to actually get real context from companies. Fourth quarter earnings begin next week. JP Morgan's going to kick everything off in the week ahead. And then we're going to see fourth quarter earnings come out and guidance from these CEOs to say, OK, this is how much the tax plan is helping our earnings. This is what my guidance looks like for the year.
And we interviewed in a previous hour the Aflac CEO, Dan Amos, and he talked specifically about this, that these policies and these principles are literally guiding what ultimately translates to, in his case, the doubling of the 401k match and some of these other things that these Trump bonuses, as they're being called, are delivering. Is that something that those workers are going to be able to count on beyond today, next week, next month?
Absolutely. The earnings period is going to look much better than it has in a long time. Fourth quarter expected for the S&P 500 expected to be up about 10.5% on fourth quarter earnings. For the year 2018, it's expected to be 12%. But that's before we're actually hearing from CEOs say, OK, this is what the tax plan means to me. For example, the banks alone, the analysts right now are expecting additional earnings growth of 13% for the major banks because of this, because of the tax plan. So make no mistake, when an earnings period is better, companies use that money in different ways. They'll either pay dividends, buy back stock, which are also very positive, by the way, or they will invest it in their business and they will hire new workers. And that's the story of today.
Well, Maria, you're back and you've got a big show today. Who do you have in the program?
We do. We've got a big show, not just to get the economy. We're talking about the corruption at the top of the FBI and the Department of Justice during the election. I mean, it is mind-boggling the amount of bias that existed in the leadership of the FBI. We're going to talk with the chairman of the Oversight Committee, Trey Gowdy, my special guest this morning. Obviously, the Intel Committee is also a member of the Intel Committee, and they have asked the Department of Justice to put forth documents about this email scandal and about the election, Fusion GPS. Those deadlines were last week and next week, so we're going to find out where that stands right now, because it's just extraordinary to see what took place during the election in terms of the FBI.
Kevin McCarthy was at Camp David with the president.
Kevin McCarthy, the majority leader, also my guest this morning. We're going to talk about the vision and the agenda for 2018. He's just back from Camp David with the president.
Big show.
Thanks, Maria.
Thank you so much.
See you soon. All right, still ahead. There's a big split between two old faces of the Democratic Party.
I think my generation's got to get the hell out of politics.
Tell Howard I can take him physically, okay?
Well, okay, that's a throwdown. So who's right? We'll ask former Democratic presidential candidate Martin O'Malley when he joins us next.
Plus, this professor wants to help put our veterans through college, and this morning she's getting some big-time help. You don't want to miss it.
You gotta dig your roots before the sun goes down. Show some love back to your hometown. Fall in love with the city
today.
Welcome back and good morning. Some quick headlines for you. Japanese airbag maker Takata is recalling another 3.3 million airbags, further expanding the largest automotive recall in United States history. The latest recalls cover frontal airbags in certain 2009, 2010, and 2013 cars made by at least 15 automakers, including Toyota and Honda. The airbags can explode with too much force. The parts have been linked to the deaths of at least 20 people worldwide. And Dunkin' Donuts is scaling back its food and drink menu by 10%. The new simplified menu will debut tomorrow in New England locations before expanding nationwide by mid-March. The chain getting rid of items that are less popular and more time-consuming to make, things like smoothies and afternoon sandwiches. All right, Pete and Griff, I think you've got an interview for us.
They better not get rid of my wake-up rap. I like that. All right. Do Democrats need a new face for their party as they move forward?
Cái thằng này đầu óc đây đâu gì không biết nữa. Hỏi 114 đi.
I I think my generation is going to get the hell out of politics.
Howard Dean said this morning, former Democratic Party chair, he said the old people in the party need to, quote, get the hell out of the way and let's
Hello, Howard, I can take him.
Dạ chào chị, tổng đài 114 phải không?
Gọi tổng đài mà chào hỏi chi? Mà hỏi số điện thoại của nhà hàng đấy.
Dạ cho hỏi số điện thoại nhà hàng Hoa Quân quận Sê Chô được không?
Disagreeing with Howard Dean's assertion as Biden appears to be gearing up for a 2020 run. So
chắc là phải trễ hơn 30 phút nữa đó.
2016 Democratic presidential candidate Martin O'Malley. Sir, thank you very much for joining this morning. We appreciate it. Before we get into the wall and the DACA deal, which is the front of mind for a lot of us, we have to get your take on the field of Democrats. Is Howard Dean right? Does the party need a new era of representatives if they're going to win nationwide?
Well, I certainly think there's a yearning out there all across the country for new leaders and new people in the Democratic Party to step up. So I think you're going to see a very robust and energetic field in 2020.
Should Joe Biden be one of them? Should Joe Biden be one of them?
Hey,
that's up to the Vice President Biden. He and his family will have to decide that. But what I've seen out there is that people are very interested in hearing from new voices in the Democratic Party. That was not necessarily the case in the last presidential race. And in fact, the party worked very hard to suppress new voices. But I think that's going to be different next time. Maybe Pete, you should referee a push-up contest and see which of.
Governor, I will accept that. You come on out and we'll do it anytime.
That's
Democratic
great.
field push-up contest.
How about I'll come, we'll get Vice President Biden and Bernie Sanders and any other comers will have a push-up contest. But none of us can say that yesterday was push-up day for us.
Governor, that's a great idea.
I plead guilty. I'm sorry, Governor.
That's a great idea. You set me up, though, because we do have to talk about some business at hand, and you certainly one of the names that could be in that 2020 race as Democrats face what to do about DACA. The president has put a plan on the table. It involves a wall that he will not back away from. And Bernie Sanders, who you just mentioned, and certainly one of the names in the 2020 Democrat race, issued a statement saying that he's not sure why President Trump wants to shut down the government over a multi-billion-dollar wall that no one wants. It occurs to me Democrats are in a little bit of a situation here, Governor, where 800,000 illegal immigrants brought here as children are counting on both parties to deliver on the way they will have legal status to stay in this country. And with Sanders saying, no way, we're going to resist, that doesn't seem like something that's going to work.
Yeah, I think what we have to stay focused on is the best interests of our nation and people who know of the country but our country. And that's the 800,000 dreamers that you mentioned. Look, there's going to be a lot of Democratic legislators who perhaps will have to face a trade-off. Are they willing to accept this wall, which frankly I think is not needed? And I don't think the people of the country believe it's needed. Net immigration from Mexico last year was less than zero. But having said that, if the trade-off for some legislators is you have to accept Donald Trump's obsession with his big wall, given the stable genius that he is, in order to make 800,000 people secure in their citizenship in the United States, I think that's a morally defensible trade-off. I don't think it's a wise use of public dollars, and the people of Texas certainly don't want a wall, and I think we should listen to them more than we have. But look, I think we have to stay focused on people and not get too wrapped around our axle about, Donald Trump's latest.
I think that's a fair point. I think that's a very fair point. It shouldn't be about President Trump and whether he wants the wall. It should be about the policy. But Democrats, going back to Bill Clinton in the State of the Union in 1996, going back to Democrats who voted for a secure fence 350 miles in 2006, Hillary, Obama, Biden, even the gang of 8 deal that failed in 2013 included an additional 350 miles. So Democrats have voted consistently for a wall. Are they being hypocritical now in saying we don't want any part of a wall in exchange for DACA?
Well, look, I think this is, and I saw some of those clips, including President Obama with much blacker hair. I think what's made it different, gentlemen, is this. Look, this obsession with the wall, wanting to build a wall, and all of this is. I think there are a lot of Democrats that just don't want to be part of the thinly veiled racism that goes along with that.
So a wall is racist?
Well, look, we're not building one along the Canadian
Dạ,
border,
xin hỏi
are
anh
we?
đặt chỗ
And
chưa?
net
Rồi,
immigration
tôi
from
đã đặt một phòng
Mexico
với
is
tên
actually
Trung
less than zero
Yeah,
last
but Governor,
year.
Governor,
So
they've
Tên là
built,
Trung
they've
Bô Súc
built
hả?
653
Anh chờ một chút
miles of
nha.
defense already.
Còn chờ đợi gì
And
nữa?
that
Phải hướng dẫn
was
cái chỗ ngồi
when
trước.
Democrats were leading the call for that.
No, I'm not, gentlemen,
Xin
look,
lỗi
I'm
quý
not
khách.
saying border
Danh sách
security
người
is
đặt
racist.
chỗ
I'm
của
not
nhà
saying
hàng
a
ngày hôm
wall's
nay
racist. What
không
I
hề
am
có ai
saying
tên
is
là
this,
Trung Bô Súc à?
that the
Cô nói cái
scapegoating
gì
of other
kỳ vậy?
people,
Không biết
saying
nào.
that all
Tôi
Mexicans
đã đặt
are
trước rồi mà.
rapists,
Cô kiểm tra
that
lại
they're
lần nữa
all
giùm.
armed robbers
Dạ.
and bandits, as
Cô
Donald
ráng
Trump
tìm kỹ
did,
coi có ai tên
playing
Trung
to
Bô Súc
great
không?
throngs of people, all applauding, especially in parts of our country
Trung Bô Súc hả?
where they've never met a
He said he
Mexican
assumes some are
immigrant.
good
I'm
people as
saying
well.
that Democrats don't want to be complicit in that, and that's why it makes it more difficult.
Well, I think
Trung
you
Bô
drill
Súc có
down to
nghĩa
the
là
true
giấu
point.
một viên ngọc sao?
Ultimately, it's a fear of
Nghe
being
nói là sau khi lấy
complicit
viên
in
ngọc
a
ra
left
rồi lại giấu vào một cái mền ngọc.
Vậy nghĩa là thằng đó chưa ra từ chỗ tối tăm của mền ngọc.
Cho nên mới nói cái tên Trung Bô Súc có nghĩa là một trong những viên ngọc được chui ra từ trong cái mền ngọc đó.
We got it. Governor, thank you so much for coming on, and look forward to having you back on soon.
Thôi đi mà.
All right. His last-minute touchdown pass won the game for his team, and it also sent another team to the playoffs. Now,
Hay là chúng ta hãy thử kết hôn với nhau đi. Phải đeo nhẫn kim cương cho người ta cộng với lời mật ngọt rồi mới cầu hôn người ta được chứ. Kim cương thì không có, nhưng tôi lại sở hữu một viên ngọc rất sáng.
Viên ngọc.
Lại đây mà cái lính. Bỏ tôi ra. Làm gì vậy? Tuy đây không phải là kim cương nhưng lại là một viên ngọc sáng nhất thế giới đó.
Welcome back. Today, the Buffalo Bills play their first playoff game since 1999, and it's all thanks to a quarterback from another team. Last Sunday, Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Andy Dalton's fourth quarter touchdown pass defeated the Baltimore Ravens. A 49-yard play sent the Bills to the playoffs.
Cô nói cái gì kỳ vậy?
But the story did not end there. Bills fans from around the globe showed their appreciation and donated to Dalton's charity, the Andy and Jordan Dalton Foundation, which helps families of seriously
18
ill
giờ
or
có nghĩa
injured
là
kids.
6 giờ tối mà
And
tôi
they
biết
raised
hết.
to the tune of just under
18 giờ là 8 giờ hả?
$350,000.
18 trừ 12 là 8 hả?
Is Bengals quarterback
chết rồi.
Andy Dalton. Andy, thanks for joining us this morning. Really appreciate
Mày
it.
đúng là
Before we
thằng
talk
đá
about
mà.
the good work
Tao
that
đúng
you're
là
doing
riêng
with
với giàu
your
như chứ
charity,
mày. Trời ơi,
talk to
tức
me here. So
chết
it's
đi.
fourth down, you got 50 yards to go.
Tại
You're
sao mình
playing a
lại
team
như vậy
in your
chứ?
division. Did you just want to put a dagger into the Ravens and say
Sao
you
giờ
ain't
này mà
going
xin
to the
e giờ sẽ
playoffs?
kêu chưa tới nữa chứ?
Anh cũng không biết. Chắc bạn vẫn không tới được.
Going to happen if we won. Obviously, there's a chance that they could not make the playoffs if they lost, and so after the touchdown, after realizing getting to the sideline and stuff, we realized that
mới nói mà đã 9 giờ, sợ chú ngủ rồi quá.
Ravens weren't going to be going to the playoffs. So, but for us, we were just trying to win the game.
Sure.
And Andy, I really want to get into your foundation. I was reading a story about William, whose parents, Christina and Andrew, were struggling to pay the $20,000 per year treatment for autism. This is something that is near and dear to my heart as a family member in the autism spectrum. Tell us about William and some of these other families that your foundation has helped.
Yeah, William's one of our favorite stories to tell. So, William needed a treatment that they weren't able to get, and so we were able to provide the money for him to be able to go to this treatment and this therapy. And after going through the therapy, his mom heard him say "I love you" for the first time. And so it's just little impacts like that, little things that we can do that really shows
Lúc tao đi vắng rồi lén vào phòng tao ăn cắp nào xuống đây hả?
Xin lỗi, tên mình cần giấy gấp tặng. That's one of our favorite stories to tell of okay, what we're doing is
Phải đó Harry, em cho mượn một lần đi, sau này chị sẽ mua lại chứ.
Không có hỏi chị. Được thôi, đưa cho tao, để tao nộp bài tập môn vẽ. Vậy thì tao sẽ bỏ qua cho mày. Không được, đây là quà sinh nhật mà.
I was just looking on Twitter after the game, and a couple people said that they were going to donate to our foundation for
Phải đó
winning the game. I
Harry,
didn't
cái này
think
để
much
tặng
of
sinh
it.
nhật đó.
Ai muốn chị nói? Mày vẽ bằng mặt quá tao thì nói là của tao. Đưa đây cho, không
run our foundation. They said you have no idea how many donations we're getting. It just kept going and going and going, and I mean, to be almost at $350,000 now is absolutely amazing. Something that we never expected, and people in Buffalo are being very generous. So it's not just them. Other people have given too once everybody's kind of caught up in the story.
It's pretty remarkable, Andy. The stats we got was it was just over 14,500 fans from Buffalo reaching out there. I'm assuming you're rooting for the Bills today?
Absolutely. I'll be rooting for them this playoffs. I mean, I think, everything that they've done for our foundation, for us, has been amazing.
And Andy, where can viewers learn more about your foundation and donate?
Yeah, all the information, if you want to know more or donate tab, it's on our website. It's andydalton.org.
And on behalf of a lot of Americans, thanks for taking the Ravens out of the playoff.
Appreciate it.
And thank you for the work that you do with the foundation as well.
Yes, very cool. I'm sorry, and that. Andy, no, it's a pleasure. Appreciate what you do off the field. Very, very cool. And obviously the Bills fans and Americans see it and value it. We appreciate it.
And an amazing throw, that's for sure.
Yep. Well done, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You got it.
Thank you, Andy.
All right, well, now turning now to some additional headlines. The U.S. military enhancing its stealth in the Pacific Ocean by adding a new warship. The USS Wasp is an assault ship recently upgraded to deploy new Marine Corps fighter jets. The new jets seen as a big advantage for the U.S. since they're completely undetectable by North Korea's radars. The USS Wasp is half the size of U.S. aircraft carriers and works on both land and in water. Wow, I've got to learn more about that. Remember this Antifa protest leader who got arrested for assault?
Sir, please, protest! Please!
Yeah, she seems stable. Well, now she's being hit where it really hurts.
Everybody,
Her
let's
wall,
go
a
home.
California
Go
court
home.
ordering Sri Lanka to pay more than $11,000 in damages to former Berkeley College Republican president Troy Warden, according to CampusReform.com. Warden sued Falarka, saying she filed baseless lawsuits against him, trying to limit his free speech. The court ruled Falarka did not file them, quote, in good faith. And a Yale astronomy and physics professor is being awarded for changing the lives of veterans. The Howard Hughes Medical Institute giving Marla $1 million to expand her work on a project that helps military veterans prepare for college. Yale's Warrior Scholar Project is a 2-week boot camp on university campuses that gives enlisted veterans who have been admitted to college the skills they need to succeed. Preparing even more for college. And this is a very cool story with some amazing numbers attached to it. A fire in the Bronx, claiming, unfortunately, its 13th victim this week. 3 more are still in critical conditioning, following New York City's deadliest blaze in more than 25 years. As the neighborhood continues to deal with the aftermath, members of local parishes have come together to help the community heal. Our own Father Jonathan Morris has spent countless hours tending to the grieving families. He joined us earlier asking for your help.
The families are waiting outside my door saying, I need help. I haven't worked. These are people, like you said, poorest congressional districts in the United States of America, in the South Bronx. They're not working because they're taking care of their families and they're spread out in shelters all over the city. It's a very serious situation and we need help.
This is Faith in Action. And thanks to generous Fox and Friends viewers, Father Morris's GoFundMe page climbed to over $90,000 after we aired that segment. This money, you can be assured, knowing Father Jonathan Morris, that money is going directly to these displaced families. You can still go to the GoFundMe, and it's the Bronx fire victims. Help these families. They're trying to raise $250,000 so they can support these families who are totally displaced and government not prepared to care for them yet. Charity and church stepping in. Kudos to Father John. Very cool.
Amazing, amazing story. And now we toss out to the man who had a little better form than you, according to many of the people writing in.
It's
Adam
up for debate.
Klotz,
It's up for debate.
outside. Adam, how's the weather and how you feeling? How are your shoulders?
Oh, guys, I feel great. I actually, Pete, I just tweeted you a couple minutes ago of me eating a donut. I know you want to compete again. I figure we'll meet in the middle. You train, I'll eat donuts, and I'll see you in a month, and we'll see how that works out. We're looking at our forecast here where it is still frigid across the country. Numbers still down into those negatives and a good portion here in the Northeast. These are your actual temperatures, but if you add the wind chill, still feels like the negative numbers in a large area of the Northeast running back into the Midwest as well. There is some good news. Yeah, highs only getting up into the teens in New England today, in the mid-Atlantic here in New York City. But notice how we begin to warm up. Temperatures climbing up into the 30s tomorrow, a little bit warmer for folks on Tuesday. So we're heading the right direction, guys. Otherwise, Pete, get on it. Start training.
All right,
good to go.
training starts Monday.
Yeah,
That's
sounds
true.
good.
Eating will start in the next segment. Please join me. All right, thanks, Adam.
Yep.
Coming up, famed lawyer Alan Dershowitz is here in studio next.
And you love her as Rose on The Golden Girls. Well, Betty White is about to turn 96, and she says that the secret to a long life is hot dogs and vodka. Girl, that's the way I've heard. What other foods can help you turn back time? Find out. Stay tuned.
Hello, We are missing a whole generation of future leaders on our college campuses today. We're teaching them intolerance. We're encouraging shutting down dissenting views. And you know, when I used to teach, when I had Bill in my class, I would see 150 students. They would look at each other and they were scared kids. I would say, that's the future president of the United States. That's the future chief justice. That's the future editor of the New York Times. That's the future chairman of Goldman Sachs. That's the future Las Vegas developer. I knew that these were our future leaders. And I am terrified, not about the present. I am terrified about 20 or 30 years from now when these young people who have been taught not to tolerate diverse views become our leaders.
Wow, powerful stuff. Well, coming up, a very special program on the Fox News channel. It's called Wise Guys, and it airs tonight at 8 p.m. right here on this channel.
And as you see, Alan Dershowitz is one of those wise guys, along with Ollie North, Bill Bennett, Ari Fleischer, and Steve Wynn. Professor, you're joining us here. It's going to be great stuff. Tell us quickly
I had such a good time doing it because these guys are so smart and they're so funny. And I think that we really touched some of the major issues facing America today. So I would urge everybody to watch it. You're going to have a good time watching it. We did it in Las Vegas, and it was so much fun. Steve Wynn, we did it in Steve Wynn's casino.
And a lot of smart people, including yourself, so this will be really interesting to watch. You know, Professor, I know that you're really concerned right now about this talk with the left as well as the mainstream media about the mental stability of President Trump. You've spoken about the dangers of the special counsel investigation. We have so many critics saying that President Trump is, a danger to society. We have a constitutional crisis. But doesn't this sort of talk have a destabilizing effect?
Well, it's very dangerous. There's only one thing worse than trying to criminalize political differences, and that's trying to psychiatrize them. These psychiatrists who are trying to diagnose without ever having met the man. That's what they did in Russia. I represented this, who they locked up in mental hospitals. That's what they did in China. That's what they did in apartheid South Africa. How dare liberals, people on the left, try to undo democracy by accusing a president of being mentally ill without any basis. Look, the 25th Amendment doesn't apply. Everybody knew who Donald Trump was when they elected him. I didn't vote for him. I voted against him. People voted for him. But he hasn't changed in office. And this idea of diagnosing him instead of opposing him politically poses an enormous danger.
Well, he was arguably one of the most vetted candidates to ever run for office in public life, and then the left went after him. But the president, he's even pointed out himself, this is not the first time the left has gone at Republicans. They did the same thing to Barry Goldwater. They did the same thing to Ronald Reagan.
Right.
What is it about Republican presidents that leads the left to say, we don't just disagree with your policies, you must be crazy?
Well, I think over 1,000 psychiatrists diagnosed Barry Goldwater and said he was mentally ill. They were then rebuked by the American Psychiatric Association and said, do not make diagnoses without seeing the patient. And they continue to do it today. Look, about Ronald Reagan, they had a point. He was perhaps beginning to develop Alzheimer's. We have a 25th Amendment for that. But the 25th Amendment is not supposed to be invoked if you don't like somebody's politics, if you don't like his style. Vote against him. The 25th Amendment requires the vice president to invoke this, and then it requires 2/3 of both houses. It's not going to happen. It's designed for people who are totally incompetent, not people who you disagree with.
Professor, you are truly a wise guy. We have to leave it there, but we look forward to tuning in tonight at 8 p.m. There you see it. The wise guys. Don't miss it.
Love it. Thanks, Professor.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
All right, well, Betty White is sharing her secrets to a long life. It includes hot dogs and vodka. That's what I'm talking about.
Chỉ là quà tự làm thôi. Sang năm nếu như tụi cháu kiếm được nhiều tiền, tụi cháu sẽ mua tặng chú món quà đẹp hơn.
No.
838.
We all know how much the
Dạ.
Golden Girls
Cũng được
love
đó,
their
chụp cho chúng tôi một
cheesecake,
tấm
doesn't
đi.
it?
Cảm ơn quý khách. Dạ xin mời quý khách hãy tạo hình thật tình cảm đi ạ.
I figured this might happen, so I went out and bought a cheesecake. Oh, that's great.
Bác xích qua bên trái một
TV
chút.
icon
Bác
actress
ngồi sát
Betty
vô con mình một chút cho
White
đẹp
turns
hơn.
96 in 10 days. Shared her
Chúng
secrets
tôi
for
không
a
phải là
long
cha
life in a
con.
recent interview,
Ảnh
which
là bạn
included
trai của
eating
tôi.
hot dogs and drinking
Thật xin lỗi quý
vodka.
khách,
That's
tôi không
what
biết là
I'm
đã
talking
lỡ
about.
lời.
So what other
Vậy bây
foods
giờ
have hidden
bác cho
health
cà thể xích lại
benefits
gần bác
that
gái hơn
can
một chút
help us
được không ạ?
turn back time?
Đúng
Here
rồi,
to break
hai
it
bác giữ
down
dậy
is
nha.
chef
Cả
and
hai cùng
culinary
cười tươi lên.
nutritionist Diane
Hai
Hendricks.
ba.
Diane?
Hi.
It's not hot dogs and vodka. I think the hot dog was her
Pete's gonna
comedy.
shed a tear.
But
for
you do
that.
have some
Con
vodka
nhận
here,
được
which I
rồi.
appreciate.
Con gửi cái gì mà nhiều quá
Thank
vậy?
you. I'll be taking it. So we got a couple items here you want to highlight in particular that could help you out, including this vinegar.
Yeah, I knew that a lot of you guys
Gửi
would
cho
know
mình nè.
about it. So apple cider
Trên
vinegar,
hút
my
nè.
mother-in-law is going to be
Thấy ba
92
sao?
in April. She's been drinking apple cider vinegar every single day. And this particular one, Pompeii's organic apple cider vinegar, has what's called the mother. You can see it at the bottom. It's a substance that forms naturally from the apple and the pectin. And it
that
offers
bad dog.
multiple health benefits when you have it every day.
Should I drink it?
Yeah, well, you can drink it. Yeah, I don't know if it's open though, but 2 tablespoons a day would be a great thing
What
to
else
do.
do we have?
We got all kinds of stuff. Seaweed. There's more than 1,000 studies that seaweed's good for you. Hot peppers have capsaicin. It's amazing. Garlic. I tried to stay away from the. This is what we all know.
오픈 1주년
But we all
기념
know
행사로
that. So there's
고객님들께
different
기념
fermented
사진을
foods
무료로
like the
찍어드리고
apple cider
있는데요.
vinegar. It's not gonna be able to say anything. Kimchi, sauerkraut,
공짜로요?
gochujang, which is a hot red pepper
I'm
paste.
liking this right here.
This is my
Yeah,
favorite.
this is my favorite section.
Is
that
it?
we're working with.
Exactly.
So what do I need to know
Okay, the
about
dark
this?
chocolate, the darker, the higher the cocoa content, the better. So you can try that. It's
All right,
delicious.
I'll do it.
And so you want 70% or higher. Alcohol. I mean, there's really a big difference between heavy drinking and moderation. 1 drink a day for women, 2 drinks a day for men. But that really is showing, there are studies that show that moderate alcohol consumption has health benefits. They're not quite sure exactly why it is, but it's brain boosting and heart boosting and things like that.
So an entire bottle
is not
good
what,
for me.
yeah, that's
Okay,
really
all right,
the key.
well.
You know, binge drinking, no excessive
All
drinking.
relative
Changed
based
my
on
game.
weight, geographic region.
But yeah, it's all about moderation. Plus we have pomegranates, which is great in that juice right there. I'm making you a drink, Pete, because I know you like it. So pour that in here.
All right, we're going to save that for the next side, on the other side of this break.
Okay, great.
Stay tuned. We've got a lot more.
Awesome.
But no hot dogs and vodka.
And I know it's gonna